right, we are in the last two chapters of Exodus, chapters 39 and 40. Uh, God's going to be explaining one more time about the priests and what their responsibilities are, and then we'll look at the temple one more time. So let's go ahead and jump into Exodus chapter 39. It says this. Beautiful priestly clothes were made of blue, purple, and red wool for Aaron to wear when he performed his duties in the holy place. This was done exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses. The entire priestly vest was made of fine linen woven with blue, purple, and red wool. Thin sheets of gold were hammered out and cut into threads that were skillfully woven into the vest. It had two shoulder straps to support it and a sash that fastened around the waist. Onyx stones were placed in gold settings, and each one was engraved with the name of one of Israel's sons. Then these were attached to the shoulder straps of the vest, so the Lord would not forget his people. Everything was done exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses. The breastplate was made from with the same materials and designs as the priestly vest. It was 9 inches square and folded double with 4 rows of 3 precious stones. Carnelian, a chrysolite, and an emerald were in the first row. Turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond were in the second row. And jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst were in the third row. And beryl, onyx, and jasper were in the fourth row. They were mounted into a delicate gold setting, and on each of them was engraved the name of one of the tribes of Israel. 2 gold rings were attached to the front corners of the breastplate piece and fastened with 2 braided gold chains to gold settings on the shoulder straps. 2 other gold rings were attached to the lower inside corners next to the vest, 2 more near the bottom of the shoulder straps right above the sash. To keep the breastplate in place, a blue cord was used to tie the 2 lower rings on the breastpiece to those on the vest. These things were done exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses. The priestly robe was made of blue wool with an opening in the center of the head. The material around the collar was bound so as to keep it from raveling. Along with the hem of the robe were woven pomegranates of blue, gold, purple, and red wool with a bell of pure gold between each of them. This robe was to be worn by Aaron when he performed his duties. Everything that Aaron and his sons wore were made of fine linen woven with blue, purple, and red wool, including their robes and turbans, their fancy caps and underwear, and even their sashes that were embroidered with needlework. Dedicated to the Lord was engraved on a narrow strip of pure gold, which was fastened to Aaron's turban. These things were done exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses. So the people of Israel finished making everything the Lord had told Moses to make, and they brought it all to Moses, the sacred tent and its equipment, including the hooks, the frameworks, the crossbars, and its posts and stands, the covering of tanned ram skins and fine leather, and inside the curtain, the sacred chest with its carrying poles and place of mercy, the table with all that goes on it, including the sacred bread, the lampstand of pure gold together with its equipment and oil, the gold-covered incense altar, the ordination oil and the sweet-smelling incense, the curtain for the entrance to the tent, the bronze altar for sacrifices with its bronze grating, its carrying poles and its equipment, the large bronze bowl with its stand, the curtain with its posts and cords and its pegs and stands that go around the courtyard, everything needed for the sacred tent, and the finely woven priestly clothes for Aaron and his sons. When Moses saw that the people had done everything exactly as the Lord commanded, he gave them his blessing. The Lord said to Moses, "Set up my tent on the first day of the year and put the chest of the 10 Commandments beside the inside curtain of the tent. Bring in the table and set it on those things that are made for it. Also bring the lampstand and attach the lamps to it. Then place the gold altar of incense in front of the sacred chest and hang a curtain at the entrance to the tent. Set the altar for burning sacrifices in front of the entrance to my tent. Put the large bronze bowl between the tent and the altar and fill the bowl with water. Surround the tent and the altar with a wall of curtains and hang the curtain that is made for the entrance. Use a sacred olive oil to dedicate the tent and everything in it to me. Do the same with the altar of offering sacrifices and its equipment, and with the bowl and its stand. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent and have them wash themselves. Dress Aaron to the priestly clothes, then use the sacred olive oil to ordain him and dedicate him to me as my priest. Put the priestly robes on Aaron's sons and ordain them in the same way, so they are and their descendants will always be my priests." Moses followed the Lord's instructions, and on the first day of the first month of the second year, the sacred tent was set up. Remember, so 2 years in. The peace post stands and framework were put in place. Then the 2 layers of coverings were hung over them. The stones of the 10 Commandments written on them were stored in the sacred chest. The place of mercy was put on top of it, and the carrying poles were attached. The chest was brought into the tent and set behind the curtain in the most holy place. These things were done exactly as the Lord had commanded. The table for the sacred bread was put along the north wall of the holy place, after which the bread was set on the table. The lampstand was put along the south wall. Then the lamps were attached to it, where the presence of the Lord. The gold incense altar was set up in front of the curtain, and sweet-smelling incense was burned on it. These things were done exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses. The curtain was hung at the entrance to the sacred tent, and then the altar for offering sacrifices was put in front of the tent. The animal sacrifices and gifts of grain were offered there. The large bronze bowl was placed between the altar and the entrance to the tent. It was filled with water. Then Moses and Aaron, together with Aaron's sons, washed their hands and feet. In fact, they washed each time before entering the tent or offering sacrifices at the altar. These things were done exactly as the Lord commanded Moses. Finally, Moses had the curtain hung around the courtyard. Suddenly, the sacred tent was covered by a thick cloud filled with the glory of God. And so Moses could not enter the tent. Whenever the cloud moved from the tent, the people would break camp and follow. Then they would set up camp and stay there until it moved again. No matter where the people traveled, the Lord was with them. Each day, his cloud was over the tent, and each night a fire could be seen in the cloud. So we see how God is going to direct them. They're not going to get lost. They're not going to not know where they're going. God is going to direct them with either a cloud or with a pillar of smoke. I also wanted to show you somebody else's rendering of the temple, of what it would look like as they set it up. You have your lampstand, you have your table for the bread, the altar, the Holy of Holies, and inside of this is the 10 Commandments. And we're also going to find out that they put manna in there to save for someone to see at some point until it gets stolen and broken and all that stuff we'll read about later on. But this is the Holy of Holies. The inner curtain, the outer curtain, and then you would also have the altar for sacrifices out here. And so that is the end of Exodus. The Exodus of leaving Egypt and becoming their own people and becoming a great nation, one that it's going to be feared by people all around that area. Tomorrow or the next day, next time you read this, we're going to be in Leviticus. Follow along there. Have a great day.